Welcome to another revisit of Power Rangers Dino Thunder. To catch up on all the episodes I missed out on, I'm going to be combining this 3-part episode into one video. And that is White Thunder. Quite possibly the perfect example of making a modern day Green with Evil. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's weird that in the Neo Saban era, in spite of all the constant Mighty Morphin references and trying to be like the next MMPR, it's amusing that Saban brands didn't try to make a new Tommy Oliver. Like, they're obsessed with the go this, and it's Morphin time that, and remixing the MMPR theme song, but they never tried to make their own sort of take on a modern day Tommy. Now, not even like Megaforce did that, despite trying to be itself like a new MMPR, even though the theme song was like barely changed from Samurai. I mean, Hasbro adapting Go Busters and Real Soldier into Beast Morphers and Dino Fury resulted in us getting Evil Rangers, but not to the same extent as what we got with Tommy Oliver. Like, he's a different guy from Blaze, Roxy, and Void Knight. And Disney era definitely had Evil Rangers, but I do believe that Trent is the perfect example of making a modern day Tommy Oliver of sorts. Like, he pretty much had a similar backstory of being someone that was a bit of an outsider. He was there from the show, like early on in the show, compared to Tommy, who made his debut in Green with Evil. He, or Trent specifically, had a bit of like a similar role as being someone that was like not trusted at first within the team until he became part of like the members of the team itself. Oh, like the Rangers of Dino Thunder definitely took a little longer to trust Trent. And of course, the fact that there was a clone at one point for Trent, although it lasted a lot longer than the evil Green Ranger clone. I mean, there are a couple of like Tommy Oliver clones that were evil, but they just last like one episode compared to the evil White Ranger clone. And White Ranger, Dino Power, White Ranger, Tiger Power, similar suit design. The red visor. He's kind of like a reverse homage when it comes to Lord Draken because he becomes a White Ranger of sorts, yet he has a more evil look similar to Dino Thunder White, and he combines green as well. But yeah, like Trent is definitely a better Tommy Oliver equivalent compared to all the attempts of like the Neo Saban era trying to be like the next Mighty Morphin. And I know people are going to say like, oh, you already had Tommy Oliver there. Were like Super Megaforce and Ninja Steel, but I'm talking about like a modern day equivalent to him. And Trent does so. I mean, then again, Dino Thunder manages to be a modern day MMPR without trying to outright be like MMPR. But as for the episodes themselves, part 1 gives us the introduction towards the character himself, specifically the Ranger, because we get to see Trent sort of getting to the point where he starts to witness the powers that change him and become the Ranger that he is. We get a really impressive battle against him and the Rangers twice in this episode. He pretty much beats their asses, and you get a sense that he's kind of a threat because, honestly, like the main thing that made Tommy Oliver feel more like a threat of Mighty Morphin was just the weapons, whereas Trent and Dino Thunder felt stronger because of the power source that he had. Like, it was very amplified, very distinct, very aggressive compared to the other Rangers, and it makes sense too, considering the kind of like Zord that it's based on. Pretty much, sort of like general mindset of just how hard he is to beat, and also we get a bit of like a side plot where Cassidy and Devin try to get a job and get some clout by trying to make a story because like the school has been had enough of them. And the fact that they're going to make a story on the Power Rangers is pretty bold on them to reveal the identities of one of them. And funny enough, the guy that was at the station was actually watching the first episode, Day of the Dino, which is pretty funny if you ask me. Like, literally, it's the same footage. I mean, it's not like they were recording footage. It's he just watching the show within a show. And, I don't know. I don't remember if the audio was like the exact same from the series, or if it was like very like muffled or inaudible, because of course the main focus would pretty much be to focus on the people that are talking, aka the reporter and the two side characters, Cassidy and Devin. But from there, They set on their mission, and it's not going to be an easy one, as we'll see later on. Part 2 gives us the debut of not just the Parasaur Zord, but also the Dragozord. And the former is another auxiliary Zord that replaces the Trano arm and pretty much like the left arm of any Megazord and gives it a scissor-like feature. Now, design-wise, it is similar to the Trano tail. I mean, it's using a tail as an attack of sorts, but it's a little more comedic in terms of appearance. I mean, it wasn't as much of a threat as uh, the Dimetrazord was. In fact, they just got it pretty easily, if you ask me. And the monster they fought against was pretty much hook based, and they kind of struggled with it at first because they're trying to focus on that while also having to deal with stuff like the return or like the second battle or third battle against the White Ranger, and of course Zeltrax getting involved into the mix when it comes to battle against Tommy Oliver. But I will say that what I liked about the this part specifically was the fact that you got a sense of just how dangerous it is to be in a Zord fight. I mean, we usually see people running away and trying not to get killed, but everything just comes back to normal, like always. But we're here when the White Ranger unleashed the Dragozord out of its egg. I like the fact that everyone was like struggling to survive from the high velocity of the winds. I mean, it kind of like feels more like a scaled back version of the destruction we saw in Man of Steel uh, with the world engine when it was causing all that destruction. But I like that detail. It kind of shows off just how consequential a Megazord fight would be, and we don't really get that very often. Now, I'm not saying that Hasbro should make a spin-off series of some randos that are just reacting to a Power Ranger battle, but uh, at least it gets a sense of it without even trying to be too like dark and gritty or like too unnecessarily gory. I mean, I don't really need to see them go all in with trying to show like people getting stepped on or skulls and whatnot, but at least give you the like it gives you the feeling that these Megazord fights aren't a walk in the park per se. And part 3 immediately gets us into the Megazord battle with the Dino Stegazord, which kind of reminds me a bit of the proportions of Generation 1 Megatron. Or rather, because I saw Dino Thunder first, it saw G1 Megatron's toy in 2011. G1 Megatron would, in this case, remind me of Dino Stegazord, with like the similar tiny face, the stumpy arms, and the skinny ass legs, and how thick he is in the torso. But yeah, like it's like kind of a funny Zord design. Really, they didn't use the Dimetrazord or like the other auxiliary Zords. I mean, they pretty much like called the Parasaur Zord to not get into battle and just try to use the drill. But it didn't work as well because it got taken down too easily. Although, thankfully, Tommy Oliver has the ability to control the Dino Stegazord, separating the Stegazord specifically from the Dragozord. Although we do get a bit of like a round 2 with the monster later on. Connor tries to confront the White Ranger, of course, not knowing the fact that Trent is the Ranger, or the Ranger that was pretty much the identity of the White Ranger. If that makes sense. Maybe not. It's a pretty solid fight. I do like the fact that we combined uses of the Japanese footage with original American footage. And I gotta say that we not only got to see the use of the Dino Stegas, like the Super Dino mode for Connor, but it was also great that we got into a different sort of approach between the way the two fought each other. I've seen the footage back to back, and I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, the Sentai one's way better because Abba Red gets bloody at one point." But actually, I kind of find it hilarious that Connor didn't just like slowly realize that he's done for when the White Ranger got his gun, because he pretty much tried to like distance himself as well as fight back a bit until he got shot down. And of course, Red, he foolishly just accepted his defeat from there. I feel sorry for him. But what's weird is the fact that once again you get a contrast between Abba Ranger footage and Dino Thunder footage. Like Dino Thunder footage is clearly different in terms of its quality. Like it's less grainy. The colors aren't like not as saturated or vibrant or purified or whatever. And the fight sequences are also different. Like, Dino Thunder was more wiry based and more about the cow explosions, whereas Upper Ranger was like a little scale back on that. If you ever see the comparison between the footage side by side, you get a sense of that, especially if you compare a wholly original fight for Dino Thunder and compare it to a fight that was like uncut from Mama Ranger. I think the example is perfectly clear with episode 5, Back in Black, when you get a difference between the footage between like Connor, the Red Ranger, versus Elsa, as well as Black Ranger Tommy versus Zeltrax, and Blue Ranger Ethan and Yellow Ranger Kira. I don't know why you're saying the names like that. Versus the Monster of the Week. Different picture quality and frame stuff and whatnot. You know, typical like video camera quality stuff. I think because they're filmed on digital nowadays, the difference is seamless. Hell, I think Beast Morphers and Dino Fury don't rely on Sentai footage anymore, unless it's for like a Zord fight. But it's like very minuscule, which is pretty like bold of Hasbro, especially that they're going to try and do their own thing. If the split with Toei is true, we're not sure yet. But yeah, and the episode for part 3 ends with Trent reclaiming his Stegazord, and now the Rangers are going to have to prepare for this new sort of challenge. So this episode may be shorter than Green with Evil or the arc itself, or this 3-part series is shorter than the 5-part series. But you get a feeling that at least they're not done with the White Ranger yet. There's still lots of more to explore between him and the character of Trent Hernandez. And it's especially great to revisit this because, like, I had no idea that this episode actually happened sooner than I thought. But then I remember, like, rewatching this, that it just felt great that Trent was within the team. Or not necessarily within the team, but within the series cast from the near beginning. And we eventually got to learn more of him as time went on. And now we see him as a new megastar, as the White Ranger in his evil form, but as expected, we'll see him turn good in the future. And hopefully that doesn't require me to like slack off and focus on other stuff while I'm trying to forget about other things that happen. But yeah, great episode, and I can't wait to see the rest of the Rangers, whether it's the good guys or the one bad guy, Trent himself. But until then, take care.